broadcast for us.
Hey everyone, welcome to Feelings with the Geekiary. I'm Erin. I'm here with my fellow hosts, Tara and Vaughn. We're fans. We have feelings. This is where we webcast about them. Hello, welcome.
Friendly reminder that this is also a podcast, so please subscribe to us on iTunes so you don't miss any of our feelings. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, please remember that this is recorded live, so we're not exactly sure what's going to happen. Please forgive us any technical difficulties or accidental swears. Oh my God, I did it all right. Yes. You can join the conversation with the hashtag Geekiary Feelings. Come on, how will we know we're wrong if you don't tell us?
Oh my gosh, 100%, 100. I feel like I need to send that 100 emoji. We'd like to remind all of you that the views expressed on this webcast are those of the hosts as individuals and do not necessarily represent the Geekiary or the webcast itself as a whole. Yay!
Yay! Welcome. Oh yeah, news and updates. That we still have a Patreon, and you can still, subscribe to it or whatever you do at Patreon. It's patreon.com/thegeekiary. Give us money so that we can keep making these and keep doing awesome coverage like the stuff that came out of Comic-Con this year, which you guys are amazing, as always.
Yeah, we definitely have plenty to talk about with that. What we don't have plenty to talk about is Hairgate.
Yeah.
Is this like we had things to talk about last one?
I know. It just says Game of Thrones is filming is done. Is it?
Yes,
I don't know. It is done. Oh, so officially all done.
Yeah, Maisie Williams posted like a picture of like her bloody like legs and feet, like the bottom part of her legs and her feet, and like said something along the lines of like last one standing or something like that. And I was like, oh, is that a hint that Arya is going to live through the series? Like, of course Arya is going to live through the series. George Martin's wife told him that Arya had to live through the series, but yeah, so they're done, and still like nothing. We've seen nothing, which is crazy to me.
I mean, has Kit Harington cut his hair yet? Is the question, because it's not done until he cuts his hair.
I mean, is he going to cut his hair? Like, would he immediately cut it as soon as it's done?
No, I mean, they're probably going to, he'd have to wait because they might have reshoots and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, when he cuts his hair, that's the end.
The real end.
The real end.
Unless he gets a weave, and then all bets are off because.
And then we get to go through and like watch it and work out which ones is the wig and which one is the real hair. Which is always a good time.
I mean, if he cuts it and then they have to do reshoots, then just give him extensions. It's fine.
I mean, it can never be a worse wig than Rhaegar's wig, which we like talked about a little bit, like for like a second at our Comic-Con panel, just joked about it really, and how it was like, they literally were like, oh, we don't need to get a real wig for Rhaegar. We'll just reuse Viserys's wig. It's fine. It doesn't matter that it's so like sort of ratty. It's good.
Look, he's been through a battle, like he's there. It's not the peak of Westeros, like they've got to cut budget cuts, right?
Yeah. Oh, Game of Thrones.
that is all the news we have for Hairgate, which has only taken 3 minutes. So well done.
Once he cuts his hair, we'll have plenty more to say.
Oh my God.
Sure.
Like the whole episode will be taken up by a discussion of him cutting his hair. Like there'll be
what he looks like with short hair, honestly.
Yes.
We'll just have to invite him on too.
Oh yeah.
That would be.
I mean, it won't happen, but what if?
What if? Yes. Yeah, so he's like expecting like in-depth questions, and we're like, so when you cut your hair, did you like go through a process of like various links before you decided on that one, or
like when dudes shave off their beards and they do like mutton chops and they do like goatee and
did he do like stages photographs, like these are the real questions that people want to know.
Yeah I mean, I would want to know, how did it feel when you finally cut your hair? If he does it before I cut my hair, then I really want to know, because like I keep putting off cutting my hair, and I want to know how it feels.
Yes. So you can imagine what it would be like if you did cut your hair without actually doing it because you're too busy procrastinating, like I am about everything.
Yeah.
I need a haircut too, but I'm like, it takes like hours, and you have to stare at yourself in the mirror, and you're just like, oh God.
Yeah. Especially when you go like in the morning or something, like before you really like put on makeup or anything like that. There's definitely been, and the awful bright lights of the hair salon like shining down on you. And of course your hairdresser always looks like a 10.
Oh yeah, perfect.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she got out of bed at 7 o'clock this morning and spent 3 hours making herself up to come to work and do your hair at 10:30 in the morning.
There's no way. You get to the end of a hairdressing appointment and you always feel terrible because you're like, and they're like, do you like your hair? And you're like, look, I don't know what I like anymore.
Yeah. I keep coming up with excuses for not cutting mine. Like, oh, I can't cut it because I'm in a wedding and I want to have long hair to put up. Oh, I can't cut it because I'm going to Dragon Con and I have a couple costumes that I want to like be able to put my hair up for. Eventually it'll happen, but at this point we're talking October, so. And I've been saying I'm going to cut my hair for 6 months.
I think we just spent longer talking about haircuts than we did talking about actual Game of Thrones. So, excellent. This is where we ended up. All right. So the news section, the biggest news of the past week or month, I guess, and there's been a lot of news because we did have Comic-Con. So that is like a bombardment of news.
Yeah. That's like an entirely separate thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I looked through our news archives for the past week and there really wasn't much like for just the past week. Although the Disney Fox merger was approved by shareholders. I'm not, are we supposed to be shocked about that?
No, I mean, I guess it'll.
Of course the shareholders are going to approve it. Like,
I mean, we're all it's Disney's world and we're just living in it. So like soon enough, they will own everything.
Yeah.
And, like I would be worried about what are we going to do?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we were supposed to be shocked about it. My biggest thing is that for a while they were talking about someone else trying to come in and buy Fox, like Comcast maybe. It was some cable company. Like, what the F is a cable company? Oh my God, I didn't swear, you guys. What the F is a cable company like wanting to just buy Fox for? But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Who's gonna say no to this? They can't screw up the X-Men any more than anybody else has. So
yeah.
Right? I said that and now I'm like, shit, maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm sure they could. Like that sounds like a challenge that could definitely be achieved. But
shit.
Who knows?
Oh, there we go. I lost it already.
If they introduce X-Men into the MCU, right, that's going to blow it out like massively.
They already can't keep up with themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. Plus they've built all this stuff with X-Men is such like an integral part of like the whole Marvel world. Like just inserting them like 10 years late just seems like it probably wouldn't work. Like just suddenly people just start mutating. Although I would like to see a Deadpool Spider-Man crossover. That would be pretty cool.
I mean, at this point, like the only character who is, normally a mutant that they've introduced that is still around, is Scarlet Witch. Yeah. So, I mean, they could easily work it in. I don't know. Now I said like, how bad can they really screw it up? And now I'm afraid to say anything else.
Right.
So, and speaking of Disney.
Oh yeah. Segue. Excellent.
Yeah. I felt this when I was putting in these notes, that this is a good segue. They're apparently discussing, or possibly like they're discussing either amongst themselves or with James Gunn rehiring him.
I don't think they're going to rehire him.
Yeah, I think if anything, they'll like have him as a consultant or something. But I don't know, like. They did kind of, Jesus Christ, Erin, they did kind of jump the gun a little bit.
Fun.
And I'm not at all discounting like the stupid fucking tweets that he, wrote, whatever it was 10 years ago. I'm not, like, they were wrong then, just like they're wrong now. But the reasoning behind, or how they got brought to light, and like the fact that he'd already apologized once for them and everything, it's kind of like, to be honest, if somebody had hold of my diary from 15 years ago, when I was in college, like I'm a completely different person now. And one of the articles that I shared on my Facebook, kind of said like, this whole, like, you're not allowed to change thing. And he's a public figure. It's a little bit different. I get that. But at the same time, I mean, like a few days ago, there was a thing about Sarah Silverman and some dumbass tweet that she wrote 10 years, or you know what I mean? Like, or I think it was 2009. So yeah, it was like 8 or 9, 10 years ago, something like that. And it's like, she's always kind of been a raunchy comic, and Disney knew who James Gunn was when they signed him on. They knew about trauma and all that stuff. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly. I've only ever seen it written, but like, it's kind of, I don't know, man.
I mean, it's difficult, right? Because people should be allowed to change, right? And if I was judged based on my tweets from 10 years ago, then you would not like me at all, because like, in 10 years, you change a lot. If you have not changed a lot and you have not grown and your views have not changed, then that's terrifying. That's more terrifying than if it had changed. And I think that the way that these tweets were brought to light and actually, how quickly it happened is extremely terrifying. At the same time, I don't like James Gunn. So I'm just like, I think that his tweets were pretty, I mean, as far as bad tweets go, they're on the very bad end.
Yeah.
They're not like sort of slightly dodgy jokes or something. They were at the, he's had like a history of saying some pretty less great things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I find the fact that like that Disney moves so quickly genuinely terrifying, because there's a lot of people that people have tried to get fired in a lot of different ways, and they haven't moved as quickly as they did with James Gunn. So
I mean, it's Disney. They are absolutely like, I mean,
they've got a brand.
Yeah. But then at the same time, there was just like a sting operation down in the Orlando area where they arrested like 6 Disney employees for trying to sleep with children. So,
I mean, yes. Disney is probably, I don't think Disney's good, but it's all about perception, and the perception here was bad. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, because Erin?
Yeah, I'm torn about it, because I just,
I mean, I in general, like for years, have been sitting there going, James Gunn should really stop tweeting and just stop getting involved in shit, because he's never adding anything good to the conversation. But I also don't think that people should be fired for mistakes they made 10 years ago that they apologized for.
Yeah, this isn't like he's one of those people like being racist at the neighborhood pool yesterday or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm also like, I don't know that James Gunn is the kind of person that Disney should be hiring to make movies, because I think that he does have some views, especially in regards to women and stuff, that are not great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't really hate the fact that he's not involved in the MCU anymore. So yeah, it's a very complicated situation. I'm generally against the way that the alt-right have taken these tweets out of context and used them as a weapon to get rid of someone that they saw as a threat.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily against James Gunn being removed from Guardians of the Galaxy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, there's always the possibility that the third movie will, like, still be as good or better, especially than, like, the second one. Because I didn't love the second Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it was fine, but I didn't love it. It was no first one. But yeah, I
it's a bit like that. It's like, this whole situation's a bit, yeah. Apparently, we cannot solve this like massive ethical dilemma like in 20 minutes on a webcast. Who knew?
Usually, we're so good at this. Erin hasn't spoken up, and I feel like she's like holding back like this like just really like pithy like argument for or against the whole thing. So
sometimes I do that, but in this case, I hate to disappoint you. I really don't care, really. I mean, yeah, it's kind of everything that you already said, and I don't think that Disney will rehire him. That's just not going to happen. I could see them doing like a consultant thing, like I think you said, Tara, but I don't know. They're not going to rehire him.
I don't think they're going to rehire him, but I also don't think his career is going to be over. If that,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Oh no, it's definitely. I mean, even if they don't rehire him, even if they don't do anything with him, his career is not over. Like, especially with the kind of kickback that there's already been. Mm-hmm. You know, the whole cast signing the petition or whatever, all that stuff. So, and I don't really know enough about James Gunn to be like for or against him being, you know, part of the Marvel Universe and whatnot, but I just don't think he should be kind of like lambasted and like driven out of the industry for some stupid shit that he said on Twitter, like when he probably wasn't thinking, you know, I don't even know when he made those tweets. I keep focusing on 2009, but I feel like that may have been the year that the Sarah Silverman tweets actually happened, because that was a thing recently too. And it's not like Disney is turning around and saying, oh, we're going to recast Vanellope and like redo all of her lines. So, you know.
The only thing I know about James Gunn is that I follow him on Instagram because he has a cat named Emily. And I like when people name their pets human names. So that's like that's all I know.
I see. So the only one of my pets you actually like is Wendy.
No, I just think it's funny when pets have human names. Like on Orphan Black, the cat's name was Denise, and I just thought that was freaking hilarious.
I mean, Denise is a really odd name for a cat. I would like to know the story behind that.
I mean,
the cat looked like a Denise.
Yeah. I love it when.
Yeah, I like it too.
Pets have human names. I love it.
Especially when you get to talk about the pet and people get very confused and they're like, is that a person?
Yeah, I was like, I think one of my friends has a dog named Richard or something. And I'm just like, yes, please.
They're like, oh, Richard shattered the carpet again. And you're like, what?
My family had a little, like, it was a little boar. It was like a Vietnamese pot-bellied, like I say, it's a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig, but it was a boar. It had tusks, and they wanted, like, they couldn't figure out what to name it. So I told them I wanted to name it Robert. So the pig's full name was Robert Borathian, but like we just called him Robert. So
It's funny.
yeah.
It's punny, which is even better.
Yes, we all know how Tara loves puns. So anyway, well, Yvonne, you was it you that found the article that apparently Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth unfollowed James?
Yeah. I don't know if they were following him to start with, like, so I don't know how accurate. I did see a tweet about it a couple of days ago, and I was like, yeah, fair. Because, I mean, this is sort of how I feel about it. Like, I feel about the situation is, like, I find the whole situation kind of alarming, and I'm not really supportive of it, but I'm also not supportive of James Gunn, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah. So, you know, it's complicated. It's complicated. You know, it's life. Complicated.
Yes.
Right. Well, on to nicer topics, which is just San Diego Comic-Con. Right. Which I was not at.
Yeah, but Erin should go first because you got to do all the fun press stuff.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get all my stuff done. It's not happened yet completely. I picked up some unwanted and unwelcome germs from Comic-Con. So I've been sick. Finally starting to feel better. But yeah, so we did, there were 6 of us there from the Geekiary this year. So we had, I mean, a ton of coverage. We had lots and lots of press rooms. I think everybody's videos are up on YouTube except for one press room. So you'll definitely want to check out our channel for all of those videos. And we went to lots of parties. Yeah, I mean, I think we all had a pretty good time.
I know. I didn't see Jamie at all. I saw Dan for like 10 minutes. I saw you guys Erin and Stephanie Angel at the rave for, a while on Thursday night, and then not again the rest of the weekend. I didn't see Kai at all.
Yeah, I didn't see Kai either.
To be fair, like last year I saw Kai for like 20 minutes, like when I showed up at the end of the lunch you guys had together, and then like I don't even, no, it was in that we did the preview night webcast. But like I hung out with Jamie quite a bit last year. I literally did not see her once this year. So
we were all very busy and we all had very different schedules. There was not a lot of overlap this year, which I think has happened in the past. But so yeah, I barely got to see everyone. Also, I only got to see you one time. So
yeah, I felt bad. To be fair though, this was like, I was only there for, I got there Thursday afternoon and I left Sunday morning basically. So I my time there, by the time I got to the hotel and like got, out of my icky travel mode and then, Friday was like a whole, it was just, yeah. And you guys were, every time I was free, y'all were all in like press rooms. So, yeah. But how many press rooms did you do? Or which ones did you do?
I personally did 6 press rooms. I did Siren, Van Helsing, Origin, which is a new series on YouTube, Disenchantment, Wynonna Earp, and Deadly Class, which is a new show that is premiering next year on Sci-Fi. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as usual, I wasn't there as press, so I don't get to do press rooms, but I did other things. I posted one article from Comic-Con, honestly, and at this point, like the other one that I was going to do nothing's panned out from it because like the person was in a rush when I met with them, and I don't even want to say who it is because I don't want to like call them out, but the person was in a rush when I met with them, and they were like, just follow up with me after Comic-Con, and I did, and I haven't heard anything back, and it's like I probably need to kind of poke that button again, but I also don't want to annoy anybody, so
maybe they also left with some unwelcome germs.
Yeah. So,
I mean, to say I went to Comic-Con 1 year and I ended up in hospital. So,
I mean, to be honest, I probably
people from like everywhere in the world, and so you're gonna get sick.
I probably should have ended up in the hospital last year. I mean, I was sick. I caught a bug from one of my roommates, and ended up turning into bronchitis, and I was sick for a month. So, yeah. And it's kind of like that at most conventions, honestly. I tend to be lucky though. As long as my roommates don't get sick, I don't usually get sick because I don't share drinks or utensils with people. I'm like, it's just me. I don't do it. And I wash my hands about 50 times a day. Like if I touch something that I think anybody else has touched, I'm like washing my hands as soon as I can.
I think it was just because like, you know, I came to your foreign country and you had all those foreign germs.
All these American germs.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're definitely worse than Australian germs, I have to say.
So I didn't do any press rooms, but like I did go to some parties. Like I went to the Diamond Select Toys lounge party thing on Thursday night. Last year I was there like all night Thursday night and it was a blast. But this year I had to meet my roommate, and then like we had tickets to the rave thing, which like we thought was Rave of Thrones, but then it turned out it wasn't. It was just Christian Nairn DJing, which it was cool. It wasn't as good as like the real Rave of Thrones what was like when I went to it in Atlanta. Like he goes a bit more themed for that. But it was still a good time. I probably would have been more positive about it if people hadn't spilled drinks in my purse at least twice. So, and it wasn't me. I can't spill drinks in my own like teeny tiny purse that like barely fits under my armpit. So I still have money that's like moldy from it. It's pretty gross. But it was still fun. Like, and I got to see, you know, Erin and Angel and Devorah and Deborah. I never pronounce her name right.
You did though. You
Devorah.
did get it right.
It was right the first time. Okay. And Kevin. Oh my gosh. And Erin. Like, so Kevin from the Friends of Comic-Con website. I normally never see him at Comic-Con. I legit ran into him like 3 times a day this year. Every time I was out wandering around, he was like, "Oh my gosh, Tara! Like, what are you doing here again?" It was great. Like Comic-Con is so big and it's so easy to miss people clearly that it was really cool to just like randomly run into him constantly.
I randomly constantly ran into Finn Jones. Which
were you like, hi, Danny Rand, Iron Fist, Danny Rand, Sworn Protector of Kunlun, Danny Rand Enterprises, Danny Rand, Iron Fist?
No, and it's funny because I don't dislike Finn Jones, but I'm also not like a huge fan. But like every con I go to, I always run into him all the time. And like, so
I can't
this year,
Finn Jones is stalking you.
It's like a Mean Girls thing. Like,
I mean,
why are you so
like
obsessed with me?
I saw him like 5 times. I think he was staying in my hotel, and so, but he was staying in my hotel. But like, why him? Like, why can't I see anybody else?
You never get to see people that you actually like. Like, you know, like you always see some person that you're always like, oh, I know you, but I have absolutely no feelings about you. So,
yeah, I mean, he's a good-looking guy, and you can tell who he is. He has a very distinct face, and so you know, he's not like trying to hide or whatever. But also, I really don't care. but also I saw him a million times.
I think this is the Comic-Con experience. See some celebrity that you know but don't really care for.
Yeah, remember that time I got my picture with Wilmer Valderrama?
Yes.
Like, nobody cares.
That's the only year that bar has been open. Come on, reopen it.
Yeah, I didn't like. I'm trying to think. I know I ran into people, but the only one that like really sticks out in my memory is that I was sitting outside of my hotel at like 3:30 in the morning on Saturday night with one of my friends. Like we were just sitting out there talking after, you know, being out drinking all night, and this like black SUV pulls up, or maybe it was a black, you know, tinted window car, and somebody gets out, and I'm like, he looks really familiar. And he like walks over and he sits on a bench near us, and we're just kind of continuing our conversation, but like we're also kind of leading into each other, like trying to figure out who it is. And then all of a sudden I realize it's fucking Jacob from Fantastic Beasts. And I was like fangirling about it. And like he eventually gets up and goes inside the hotel and goes to the elevators and disappears. And I'm just sitting there like, that's Jacob. I should have said something, but I didn't. I love his characters, Dan Fogler. Like, I love his characters so much. Like, oh, that was like my one thing that I care about celebrity sighting.
No, I have a similar story, although I was not intoxicated and I did not fangirl. But there was one night that I went over to Odyssey, which is the bar in the Hilton Bayfront. And it's a great bar. Like, I love going there. Every single time I go there, I see a celebrity or like somebody who's cool in the industry. It's a great place. But I went over there and I was going to meet Devora and her husband just for like a light dinner, lounge food, you know?
Yeah.
And we were like looking around. The only table that was empty was in like this side room where there were only 2 tables, and we sat down and there was no menu on our table, but there was a menu at the table next to us. So, and there were a couple people eating at the next table, and Devora's like, hey, can we have this menu? And they were like, oh yeah, fine. Well, it turns out it was Emily Andress and Josh from Sci-Fi.
Oh my God.
She's the showrunner for Wynonna Earp.
Yeah.
And he's like Josh from Sci-Fi. I don't know like his real name. But they were like having dinner, and they had just come from the premiere screening there. And so we were like Devora and I knew exactly at that moment, like we were looking at each other like, yeah, this is happening. And so we sat next to them for like 45 minutes. We did not say anything. It was
Did you listen to their conversation? Did they say anything cool?
Yeah, I totally would have tried
We were actually trying very hard to not listen because they were obviously talking about like the show and stats and the network and stuff. Like you could tell, but you know, I'm like, I don't want to know.
I usually have really good run-ins at Odyssey. This year, I like randomly saw a couple people who were like kind of bit actors when I was there for a little while on Thursday afternoon. It must have been. Yeah, it was Thursday afternoon. I literally left to go get ready for like dinner with some friends, and maybe 20 minutes after I left, the girls that I had been hanging out with ran into Steve from Stranger Things. And I was like, I fucking hate you. I hate you. But like at the same time, I'm kind of glad I wasn't there, because like I would have absolutely been like, look at your hair. I don't think
glorious.
It really is. So yeah, but you know, whatever.
All right. So celebrity sightings are a thing that happen at Comic-Con, and usually you don't care. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you get to sit next to someone and not eavesdrop on their conversation.
Yeah, I was trying not to. There was really loud music, so I really didn't hear anything. But I also have to give a mention that I did see the sexy Toadette in person.
Oh, yeah.
Ezra Miller showed up.
Did he look beautiful in person as he did in the pictures?
Yes, he is very tall. He's actually a lot taller than I thought he was. I had some time to kill in between two press rooms. And so I was sitting up in like the lobby area of the Bayfront and in an area where they only allow press. So there's no one around and I was just chilling. And the whole cast of Fantastic Beasts came by. And so I saw all of them except Johnny Depp, and I don't care anyway. But I saw everyone else. I saw everyone else and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And then, yeah, Ezra Miller walked by and I was like, he's actually the first person that I saw. And I didn't know, like, I didn't recognize anyone at first. And then I saw him and I was like, that's gotta be Ezra Miller. And it was. And then I recognized like Zoe Kravitz and, you know, I saw the other people. And so.
That's cool.
The sexy Toadette. He's very tall.
He is very tall and very pretty.
Did you do any, Erin, did you go to any of the oh my God, like the installations, like the outside of Comic-Con things that you don't need a pass for?
Oh, like the activations and offsites?
Yeah.
No.
I never do, and this is the first year I did. I waited, I think, about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes in line for the Good Place one. Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool. Like, if I had not been in the sun, I would have been fine with waiting that long or probably longer. But like most of the wait was in the sun. So I was like miserable and hot and kind of a little hungover from the night before. But like, it was neat. Like you took a little test that determines whether or not you're in the good place, which like I haven't even looked at my results because I don't feel like giving them any more information than I already did. And then like you go in and there was a fun little video where it's like Ted Danson and the girl who plays Janet, I can't remember her name, you know, and they're like, welcome, you know, you're in the good place. And in the good place, like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was never canceled. Lady Stoneheart existed in the show. And it's like all these like, your opinions about the new Star Wars movies actually matter. It was a really funny, like the video, the introduction video is the best part of it. Like then you go to this place that looks like the good place. And I was really hoping for some free frozen yogurt, but it was really just like a thing where there's actors and they kind of are like, you're in the good place, and then things start falling apart, and they kick you out, and they give you a little like shrimp. It's like a stressed shrimp. So it's one of those things where like my friend really wanted to do it, and I was like, you know what? I've literally never done one of these things, so I'm going to. And it was fun. Like it was cool. And then we went back into our room, and I took off all my clothes and napped because it was so hot and gross.
Well, I will say though, this year the weather was beautiful compared to like the last every year I've been. It was much cooler. I mean, it's still so hot in the sun there, but it was like a good probably 10 degrees cooler every day that it has been for like the last 5 years. So
Saturday was like really cool.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, from what I remember, I feel like I might be mixing up my days, but like I know I went out Friday and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so nice out. And I mean, I'm from, you know, where I live, like Florida or South Carolina, currently South Carolina, like when it's sunny out, it's in the summer, it's just fucking hot. And, you know, so Friday at Comic-Con, I was like, this is gorgeous. But then I had to like, then I was like kind of a little bit hungover and like waiting in that line for the good place thing. And so much of it was in the sun. And I was like, this is a bad idea. idea. But Saturday was nice. So it got cool at night. I want to say it was Friday night. Maybe it got like really cool, but Saturday night the temperature like didn't drop at all. It was weird. We ended up at a bar that had like outdoor fire pits, and I was like, why is this on? Can we turn these off? We don't need these. It was like 75 degrees out. But yeah, so that was like most of my Friday was that waiting in line for that, because I slept until it was sleeping, brunch, and then waiting in line for the good place. And then I did go, thanks to you, Erin, to the legendary Nerdist party, which was really cool. I'm still a little confused about why they were acting like the guest list was like, oh, you know, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they seemed to be really particular about who they were letting in, and they had all these rules about like no like extraneous like video cameras or cameras. But then like once I got in there, it was mostly just a bunch of industry people, so it seemed kind of weird that they were super.
Well, it was their invite only party, so like.
I mean, when I say industry people, but when I say industry people, it wasn't like actors or anything like that. It was just a bunch of like a lot of press people and like stuff like that. I'm not complaining or anything, but it was just like, why are you so picky about this? But the party itself was great. The DJ was really good. They literally had the Lost in Space robot like up in the DJ booth. They had a giant light bright wall. They had cotton candy, and they were giving it to you on like light up sticks. They had some gin drink that was very strong. They were about this big, and I had 5 of them, and it was a fun walk back to the hotel. I mean, they were tiny. I mean, I'm talking like 3.5 inches, 4 inches tall for the cup, but it was mostly alcohol. So I had 5, and it was.
That's how a drink should be.
Yeah, it was one of those nights. And they had a ping pong table where they were doing beer pong, but the beer cups were on like little robots. So they were like you're trying to like play beer pong, but they're like moving around the table. And I hate beer pong. Like I'm super anti beer pong. I feel like it takes over parties and like ruins everything. But that was pretty cool. So
never known anyone to have that much opinion about beer pong, but okay.
I think it's like a generational thing with me, because I had there was like a couple year period right after college where all of my friends were obsessed with beer pong, and like every time I went to a party, it was people playing beer pong or people watching people play beer pong, and or people waiting for their turn to play beer pong. It's like, what else is going on? The music stopped like 20 minutes ago. Did nobody notice this? I don't want to drink like Bud Light from a keg that like a dirty ping pong ball has been in. You know, like, I'm sorry.
I feel you. I agree. I haven't had that much experience with beer pong on account of it, you know, not being American. But yeah, it seems not so fun. I can't imagine it.
But yeah, no, generally the party was really cool. So
cool.
So thank you to Erin for deciding to stay like low key that night.
I don't remember even what I did that night. Oh, that was the night I went and saw. I was at Odyssey.
Okay.
I just wanted some sushi. Like,
okay, guys. Any actual like pop culture news that is not like how much fun you had, which is great, and I enjoy hearing about.
You should really watch the Wynonna Earp videos. It's always my favorite press room, and I was able to get 6 minutes with 9 people.
Oh wow! Like, yeah, I've watched 3.5 of them. So
yeah. So they're always like really good, and so
yeah.
But we won't We won't talk about any spoilers.
Yes, I will definitely find a way to watch it before next. But they haven't got anywhere that they're airing it in Australia yet. Season 3 of Wynonna Earp, which is annoying because season 2, like I was saying, season 2 aired the same week as it was in the US, but here now it's just like, where is it? I don't know.
The good thing is like the videos, at least I watched Catherine, and I might pronounce these names wrong. Catherine Burrell, Dominique Prevalse, whatever her name is. Oh my God, Chocolate. Oh my God, Wynonna.
Melanie Scarfano.
I was gonna say like Michelle or something, and I'm like, no, I know it begins with the tongue. Melanie Scarfano, and I got through like part of Tim Rosen. So yeah, they're not the ones that I watched weren't spoilery at all. So
no, they did very good with not spoiling, because episode 2 is a big one. So
God, yeah, it is.
They didn't really, they talked a lot about how big of an episode 2 is, but they didn't like go into specifics. So yes.
Well, now I definitely have to find somewhere to watch it. So not that I would ever watch anything illegally, but you know, I'll just fly to the US.
I mean, and honestly, one of the things that I was talking about with a friend, like after the fact, was you know, we're watching all the trailers, and my friend and I were watching all the trailers together, and I was like, you know, you really felt like that lack of like Marvel and like Star Wars presence, and he was like, oh shit, you're right, this is like all DC, and I was like, yeah, because Disney doesn't want Marvel or Star Wars at Comic-Con anymore because they have D23. So there's a lot of.
It was a lot easier to get into every single panel, though.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the other thing. Like with no there was no Game of Thrones. You know, Westworld. There were a whole ton of shows and movie like properties that weren't there. And I mean, I had friends that were walking into Hall H like every day.
It was a walk-in the whole time. Hall H was a walk-in the whole time.
Yeah. And I feel sad now that I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine before Comic-Con, but I'd only gotten through like some of the first season, and I was kind of like, this is fine. And now I'm like into the 4th season, and it was like the beginning of the 3rd season. I was like, fuck. Like, I love it now. God damn it. But like, I wish I had like been into it before Comic-Con, because like that's a panel I would have liked to have gone to.
You wouldn't have been able to get into that panel.
I had friends who waited, like who like wanted me to wait in line with them. Like they had like a spot in line.
Where was the Brooklyn Nine-Nine panel?
Indigo.
Oh.
Yeah, because I remember, because I had a press room in the Indigo rooms that was right when they were starting to queue for Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
And I walked in and there was no one in that Indigo lobby. And then I walked out an hour later and it was completely full. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, there's like a million people everywhere. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So yeah. That's probably the one panel that like was full.
There were other panels that I like wanted to go to, but the timing was wrong. Like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend would have been fun. The Good Place would have been fun. But was I getting up that early on Friday morning? No. Or Saturday morning? I mean, no.
Well, I did get to go to the Wynonna Earp panel, which I've never gotten to go to before, because it's always right back to back with the press room. And so like they can make it because they have golf carts that take them everywhere. Not me. So
running.
Yeah. So I've never gone before, but it was like 6 hours difference this time. So I was able to get over there. And so I tweeted right away about the season 4 pickup, and Funko is doing pops for Wynonna Earp.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So so those are some kind of highlights from a panel that I actually got to go to.
Did you see any other panels?
I was a studio guest for Siren and for Van Helsing, so I saw those. And then I saw the panel that was before Wynonna Earp, which was Tom King, the DC comic artist, writer, person thing. He's a writer, not an artist. Or maybe, I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I was trying to upload my videos in the panel for my iPad. It was a lot of work because I had no Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Speaking of Wi-Fi real quick, fuck Verizon. They didn't sign like some sort of necessary contract with the convention center. I had no service all weekend. Like that's part of the reason why I missed like seeing so many people and stuff, because even when I was messaging people, my messages were coming through they were going through 20 minutes late, coming back 20 minutes late. Like it was, I've never had this bad of like cell phone service at Comic-Con. It was miserable, like fucking miserable. And I said, I was picking up our like, you can record your panel passes at, I think it's Saturday. It might have been Friday. I don't know. Whatever day I was picking up our like I think it was Saturday morning. You can record your panel like hang tags or whatever. The guy was trying to get a hold of the woman to make sure he could give them to me or something, which is weird, but like he was trying to call her and he was like, man, I don't have any service. I don't think she has any service. We both have Verizon. And I was like, yeah, what's up with Verizon? And he told me that they just couldn't come to terms with some like contract or whatever. So if you had Verizon, you were basically screwed all weekend.
I also had Verizon, and that is why I used my iPad for my videos, because I was like, oh, it's going to be quick and easy to upload those with, just using my data. And that was not the case. It was much faster on my hotel Wi-Fi. So yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also piggybacked off of the Hilton Bayfront Wi-Fi, courtesy of the other Geekiary people that were staying in that hotel. Thank you for letting me hijack your Wi-Fi.
Well done. Excellent. All right. So finally, final thoughts. Like, how would you describe this year's Comic-Con? That silence says a lot. Like,
it was good. It was different. It was a really different year because it felt a little scaled back, but it wasn't. It just felt like more relaxed, I think. Like laid back, more chill.
Yeah, I like rate my Comic-Cons regarding like based on like how much fun I had. It wasn't 2016 level, but it was better than every other one. So it's like 2016 is like on this level that I don't think anything will ever reach. This year was great. 2015 is like very close to this year, and then nobody cares about last year or 2014. So it was like Erin said, it felt scaled back, and I think the lack of presence from some of the major properties was a big part of that. I also think the lottery thing for like the exclusives. I think a couple people I know maybe got 1 or 2 lottery slots, but like I knew a lot of people that, applied for those lottery spots, and I'm talking like dozens of people, and out of the dozens of people that I know that applied for tons of lottery spots, maybe 1 or 2 people got a couple of the ones that they wanted. So I don't know how they really worked that, but whatever.
I do also want to say something to the PR people for the studios or networks that are not watching this webcast right now. But if you are, next year, don't do the escape rooms. Don't do
Oh my
like,
God.
don't do like rappel experiences. Save your money and just rent out a bar and allow people to come in and drink booze and watch your shows and take a flyer. Like, what a better way to promote your stuff than just like let people drink some alcohol. Nobody wants to like. Nobody wants to do escape rooms.
I hate them so much. I feel like they were like super popular years ago, like a few years ago, and like people just don't want to let them die. And I don't really know why, because they're not fun. Especially not for situations like this where it limits so much like how many people can like enjoy them. I don't know. No thanks. But I'm also not a Ravenclaw. I guess I feel like my friends who are Ravenclaws fucking love escape rooms. Me, I'm like, this isn't fun for me. I don't want to spend my free time doing puzzles.
I like escape rooms, but I probably wouldn't do one in Comic-Con. I like puzzles, and I am a Ravenclaw.
Imagine all those germs.
You are a Ravenclaw. See? Only Ravenclaws like escape rooms, Mom.
It's like you get locked in a room and they're like, fix all these puzzles and you can get out. And you're like, and I'm like, yes, I am thriving.
See, I'm claustrophobic, so I'm like, no, get me out of here. I don't want to solve any puzzles. I just want to breathe and not hyperventilate. But I'm a Gryffindor. I don't know.
Apparently,
I don't
it's
know
a
what that
Ravenclaw
means.
thing. I mean, using this tiny sample size, it seems. All right.
Okay,
so
we should let's not talk about Comic-Con anymore. It's fine.
Upcoming events, like now that Comic-Con is over, do you have anything else, or are you just going to be sleeping?
I have to work forever, so bye.
Oh.
See you in 6 months.
That's about right.
Do you have anything, Vaughn?
Oh no, I don't think so. But
Really?
I haven't really thought about August at all. So possibly, but nothing that I can think of. I totally forgot it was actually August. So
yeah, I have Saturday. I have like a little local convention. It's at like a library, but they've been doing it for several years now. And I was a guest there a few years back, and now that I'm back here, I'm going to be there again this weekend. So it's like a little local thing. I'm excited. Like I get to have a table, maybe sell some books, whatever. And then at the end of the month, they have Dragon Con. So
cool.
Dragon
All right then.
Dragon Con.
Recommendations. Do we have any recommendations for people in August?
Erin?
I've been watching Castle Rock, which is kind of good. It's kind of not great, but but I really, really love Andre Holland. So for that, you should watch Castle Rock.
I feel like that's kind of what you were saying about Van Helsing the last time we had this webcast.
Yeah. Van Helsing turned out so good.
That's good.
My gosh.
That's good.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Castle Rock, watch it for Andre Holland and stick around for murdery Maine stuff.
Righto, then. Okay. My recommendation is Mamma Mia. Here we go again, because it is fun. I have seen it twice at the movies. It is full of B-sides and bad acting, and everyone just seems like they're having the best time ever. And honestly, if you don't like it, then you don't like fun. So
I feel like if Colin Firth is in it, I'm in.
he is in it, and he is lovely.
Of course he is, because he's always lovely.
He dances with Stellan Skarsgård on a boat, and it's pretty freaking phenomenal, I will say. It's probably the best movie moment of history ever. So, masterpiece, Mamma Mia, here we go again. Go see it. And the other thing I'm hyped for is Doctor Who, but it hasn't started yet. So,
yeah, I mean, I already kind of went into this, but I got sucked down that Brooklyn Nine-Nine rabbit hole. So I honestly, like, I started watching it and I was like, I don't have much else to do, so I'm watching this. And the first season, I'm like, why does everybody love this so much? I don't, like, it's not bad. It's okay. Like, it's amusing. I don't really like Andy Samberg, so I think that's kind of the biggest, that was like the biggest setback. Then I got, season 2 is better. Like, season 2 is a lot better than season 1. And then I got into season 3 and I was like, well, I'm fucked. So it was like, it went from like season 1, it's fine. I'm watching this. I don't have anything better to do. Season 2 is like, okay, this is good. It's better. I like this more. Season 3 is like, oh, now I'm like literally laughing out loud. Like I'm like on my like, stationary bike because I can't like run as much anymore because of my herniated disc. So I'm like on my stationary bike watching episodes and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. This is funny now. Well, all right. So yeah, get through season 1 and you're good.
I think like my recommendation to people when they start watching it is I say watch the pilot and then skip to episode 9.
You can give recommendations like that? Man, that I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah, I always say, because I'm like, watch the pilot and then skip to episode 9, right? Because episode 9 is like when it starts to get better, because it's like my moment when it starts to get good is when Boyle stops being creepy with Rosa.
Yeah.
The moment he stops being creepy with Rosa is when the show is like, okay, you know what? We're not going to do this. And then it starts getting good. I mean, it's good for those first 9 episodes. And when you go back and watch them, you appreciate them a lot because it's like you get to know the characters and and there are some really solid jokes in there. But yeah, watch the pilot, skip to episode 9.
All right. Do we have a question?
I did write a question, and it's about Mamma Mia.
That's the second month in a row.
Yeah. In honor of Mamma Mia, what band's musical catalog would you like to see turned into a jukebox musical?
In Sync, obviously.
Oh my God, yes, that would be an amazing musical.
Yeah,
Wait, I have to put a caveat on the In Sync.
Okay, yeah.
Joey Fatone has to be in it.
Okay, yeah. I feel like Joey Fatone should be like the dad of
the hot dad.
Yeah, the hot dad. Hot dad. And there's like 2 simultaneous storylines, right? One is like the dad's romance and one is the son's romance.
So it's basically Mamma Mia, here we go again.
Because all musicals should be Mamma Mia, right? And it should involve like several dads. Because why have one when you can have 3? But okay.
So Vaughn, I'd like to hear your answer.
Well, I mean, mine's pretty obvious. It's One Direction, isn't it? Like
we're just the same person, just a few years apart. Like,
I mean, to be fair, I would also watch a Hanson musical. Because like their songs are bops, and that Middle of Nowhere album, like a whole musical about that would be great, and also a Taylor Swift one I would live for too.
I was thinking about Taylor Swift as well. That 1989 would be like
1989 musical.
As long as you just distanced everything from Taylor Swift herself, so that it was like her music and like her story, but like she's not actually involved in it at all. Like then I'd be okay with it.
Joey Fatone can be in it.
Joey Fatone, yeah. No, I mean, I would like the 1989 musical to be about Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah, but just not involve her directly. Like, she's not in it. You know what I mean? Like, there's somebody who...
So that would be bad.
But... Yeah, exactly. I also just don't care for her as a person. But, like, like, that would... Taylor Swift is one... I guess you guys kind of In Sync would be another. Like I don't really listen to a lot of. I'm old.
Yeah, but it could be a classic. Something.
Yeah, I just like the bands that I listened to when I was younger they don't really lend themselves. Weezer, you know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, I would watch a Weezer musical.
A Weezer musical?
Yes.
With Pinkerton. I mean, Pinkerton. It would have to be Pinkerton. Like, okay. Like, it couldn't be like their like fucking red album, green album, whatever. Like, it would have to be Pinkerton. It would have to be the one that like nobody really likes. except for me. Okay, so.
All right, okay. All right.
I'm joking, obviously, but no, Pinkerton would lend itself very well to a musical. So
I think, yeah, I mean, definitely. As I can picture it already. They're on a Greek island, and
they're on a Greek island, and actually, it's Mamma Mia.
Let's just make every movie from now on Mamma Mia. I don't see any fault with this.
No.
Okay.
With Joey Fatone.
Yes, Joey Fatone could be there. Joey Fatone for Mamma Mia 3.
And Colin Firth.
Yes. Joey Fatone should be Colin Firth's love interest in the Mamma Mia 3.
I think all parties would go for this. Yeah. You should definitely pitch that.
I will.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I just shout it at the universe and be like, come on, make this a thing.
I just really love Joey Fatone.
All right. So that is, are we done? We don't have anything more to add?
No.
We've really devolved here in the last few minutes. So
it is 9:06. We made it an hour somehow.
I said we always find something to talk about, so it's fine.
Yeah.
We did talk about haircuts and like parties quite a bit in this, but that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I am Von, and I'm here along with Tara and Erin. Thank you for joining us for Feelings with the Geekiary. Remember, we are a free webcast run over donations from viewers like you. Thank you for contributing to our host site, the Geekiary, and we will see you next month.